Hi, my beautiful brothers and sisters. This is Mary Hernandez with Genesis Kingdom. Happy Monday. Um, Today's topic, I picked the pentacle. The pentacle, the pentacle it's called. Um, as far as like when I first read it, the pentacle, I always thought it meant like the very top of the church. But there was more to it than that. So again, I brought it up and I did the pentacle Bible meaning. The pentacle, you know what they show about as far as the stars. The meaning to it is it's a pagan world. Christians they commonly use the pentagram to represent the wounds of Jesus. It wasn't 40 lashes like everybody thought, it was 5. So the Christian ones commonly use the pentagram to represent the wounds of Jesus. Today, the symbol that is widely used by Wiccans, witches, and pagans. They use that. So what does that have to do with everything? It brings us to who we thought was a dearly beloved, a child of the Most High God. And don't get me wrong, God doesn't make anything unclean. A lot of times people just decide to go and serve darkness, you know. With that being said, let me read a little bit as far as what it says when we do the Pentacle Bible meaning. It says, but we now come to speak of the holy and scared pentacles and the sigils, right? Now the pentacles are as if it was a certain holy cinch preserving us from evil, right? Chances and events of helping and assisting us in bind, exterminate, and drive away evil spirits are alluring into the good spirits and reconciling unto them with us. You know, if you really don't do the research and really read the Bible, you cannot understand almost what that meant, right? And as I went further in it, of course, it does speak that the Christian symbol is basically the pentagram without a circle, once originally used to represent the 5 wounds of Jesus. And that's in there. The pentacle's definitions are almost like sacraments. The pentacle starts as the 5 points. The pentacle, the slender upright is the edge of the top of the buttress of the tower. Like I was telling you what I thought, really meant opposed to what it really says. It's like the top of the church, it isn't. So it marked the narrow focus to displaying the teaching, right? So the pentacle, they want you to see it as it's a positive religious. The pentacle, Langdon, it clarified it as a pre-Christian symbol that relates the nature to worship, the agent and in vision of the word of 2 halves, right? And this is little things that it has on there. Importance of the pentacle. Guess what it represents? Again, the importance of the Pentacle of Solomon. It says the symbol's protection that can be used in the shield. It represents the protection of negative energies, and it attacks them from spirit. And as you read it, it gives you more definitions of how the pentagram is associated with Satan. It's mentioned in the Bible. And as you go further, of course, it shows you, I don't know if you could see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how the symbol goes. It has the pentagrams. Again, it says the 5 wounds of Christ. That was the pentagram, the temple of, it's also the Da Vinci Code is the pentacle. As you do more research. And this is just pretty much me going in and doing some deep studying, which I have copy paste some of it, and I will put it up in there. So with that being said, I'm going to back it up with some Bible verses, which is the 666 mark. Go ahead. Actually. So it brings me to 1 Kings 10, 14 to 29. Sorry, I was in another one. So this is the part kind of where Queen Sheba, which was his mother, had went up to David. So I'm kind of just doing a little recap, and then I'm going to go after that happened. She went up to David and said, hey, we're gonna make Solomon king, because he was already getting too old and he could barely even move. So she just went up to him and said, hey, she was one of the women from a strange land that he had married. And she just went up to him, already old of his age. And she said, we're going to put Solomon as a king. He wasn't the next in king the way they are. The world, the man world, they lift him up. The beast system, they lift him up. And they do. So it says, he gets crowned and whatnot. So now we're in 1 Kings 10, 13. A King Solomon gave unto the queen of Sheba all her desires, whatsoever she asked, besides which Solomon gave her of his royal bounty. So she turned and went unto the country, and she and her servants. The weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 603 scores, which is 666 of the talents of gold. Besides that, he had merchantmen of the traffic, the spies and the merchants of all kings of Arabia, of the governors and of the country. And the King Solomon made 200 targets and beaten gold, 666 shekels of gold that went on to one target. And then it goes a little bit more of what he did. But if you go down a little bit more, he made 300 shields and beaten gold, 3 pounds of gold, 1 shield of the king that put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king was great throne of ivory, overlaid it with the best gold, but the throne had 6 steps. On top of the throne was roundabout behind him, and his stays on either side of the place of the seat. 2 lions stood beside, and they stayed. The 12 lions stood there, one side was on the other, upon the 6 steps, that they were likened unto that made them any kingdom. Right? I'm going to stop right there, and this is just to introduce when he was king. Then you get the Arabian scores that came with 666, and then they went ahead, and it was gifted. That was blessed by Satan. It wasn't blessed by the Creator. So then it brings me to, and I will post those Bible verses. The number of 24:17. Numbers 24:17. And with Solomon taking place, and I'm putting the real, the message here is to let you know the real enemy, and it's Satan, and how he has worked through God's children, even as chosen vessels, some that weren't chosen, some that were in the throne, some that mixed it with the pagan world. This is to let you know, as far as, the real enemy in this world that is so much fighting for your soul. So we got them that got corrupted with darkness. Those are the children of the darks. And then we got the children of the light, and that's even you that comes from darkness. We were all called from darkness and into her glorious light, which is Mother God. So with that being said, I also put victory in here. We got the evil that does this, that, and then we also got God's work in it. Everything is, it's really a battle of Armageddon that is really already going on, before we get to the actual one. And it's a battle for your soul. And as you see, even if he was David's offset, the woman was from the darkness, and she was. So we go to Numbers 24:17. And this is kind of like, I'm sorry, I'm going to start at 16. And he said, which he had heard the words of God, that he knew the knowledge of the Most High. He saw a vision of the Almighty falling into a trance and having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not at night. But he shall come as a star out of Jacob, and a scepter out of Jacob, and a scepter out of those out of Israel. And they shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And I did one about the four wings, I don't have it in front of me, that basically will tell you these are kings of the ancient that were serving darkness, and people that were just evil, plain evil, that started. And this is the fight. This is, as you do, as I do more Bible study, it's almost, we call that the four heads. I'm working on one that has the four heads, and this is pretty much, it coexists. And these are the four heads, are the four wings that she started right in the beginning of Genesis 2:10. And it's all descendants of Noah. And it goes on and trails on the line. So I'm actually getting that ready and to kind of make sense and piece it all together. That they're sons of Cush, that it has it, of Noah, Japheth, I think that's how you say his name. But I'm going to not get off subject, but just want you to know that this is the outset, the children of them as you go down. So then now, Numbers 24:18, Edom shall be a possession. Sir shall be the possession of his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come, and they shall have dominion, and they shall destroy him that reigneth into the city. But when he looked at Amalek, that he took up the parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations that he had in latter end, that he shall be that he perish forever. He looked at the Canaanites and took up the parable and said, Strong are there that are in the dwelling places, that thou puttest thy neck in the dark. Nevertheless, the Canaanites shall be wasted until Assahar shall carry thee away captive. He took him in a parable and said unto Alice, who shall live when God doeth this? The ships into the fourth of the coast of Kittim, they shall be afflicted. Assahar shall afflict ever, and also perish forever. And Blam rose up and went and returned into his place, and Black also went the way. And as you learn who is it that is our enemy, Blam is the fallen Adam. That's the one from the very beginning, that he has a God. And it tells you very beginning from Luke 3, I believe, I want to say 16 all the way down, that genealogy is the one that are the Hellenists. Those are the Hellenists that were making you think, hey, these are the people that God picked. This is the people. No, that's the list from the Hellenists. They represent hell. And that's on Luke 3. And that allows you to research and look all the way down until the end. It tells you that that's who the God that they call. And Hellenist is the grandfather of them. And as you go down. And they're all come from Greek, all from the 7 churches. It all just, it's almost like a little puzzle. And God put it together and who our real enemy is. So really, if you think about it, the Armageddon for war of your soul, it's already happening. And this is the awakening that Mother God is also waking us up and letting us know what is it that was right in front of us in plain sight that we did not know. Or if we knew, we just really weren't paying attention or didn't really know, or some that knew, but they sold to the darkness. So now it also brings me to Isaiah 14. And really it says for me to start at 12. Who is the enemy that said that he will be standing in the highest mountain? In the highest mountain, really, if you think about it, you would think, why did Satan have access to and from? And you get that from Job, right? You get that from Job. It's because we fell asleep to sin. We fell asleep into who we really are, a child of the Most High God. And then the people that were up there were just as evil that were running, and Satan had dominion because we were all sinning. But she said, how do you know that you are sinning if you're not being taught that? It's almost like the people in the pulpit, and I'm going to say it, get up there, and it's almost like saying, well, you know, sin is not that bad. They already know they're sinning. I don't need to tell them. No, you need to tell them. You need to tell them because we are in the end times. We are in the end times, and it's a battle, an Armageddon for your soul. So how do you know to fight for your soul if you're not being taught that? If you're being told, oh, there is no hell. Oh, there is no demons. Well, you know, technically they're called aliens, you know, and that's also in the Bible. But a lot of people, you'll get some people, you want people to believe that there's aliens, and there isn't. Well, these are entities. These are evil, demonic people, you know, elements in the world are also, and I've done it, and I got the huge revelation on it as well, too. They're scientists, the elements that make themselves God, this is that. You know, we did this, we built that, you know, God is nothing. No, I'm going to tell you how they knew a lot of things. And God just gave me this beautiful revelation. They knew because the Bible was written many years ago, okay? But they took out pages and they put he. So when you read it and you got a scientist that's coming up here and he's giving Bible prophecy, right? And then you think, man, this man knows. That is scary. You know, I think Nostradamus was known for one that do the prediction, a lot of it that he had. How do you think a lot of them knew that? The Bible is number one. They knew, but they tainted it to men. So that was hidden pages that was the binding that they did. But also there was a lot of them that were world leaders. So they already knew what they had planned for the world. They already knew there was going to be World War I, II, and they were planning on 3. And you can't see that they didn't. That's why when people read it, they're like, wow, how did he know that? Well, geez, there were world leaders that were demonic. And they all said, have a little powwow once a year. And they said, what year are we going to do this in damage? What kind of damage are we going to do to these people in this world? What kind of plague should we throw on them? You know, people think it's a God, and they want you to think that. Is there a wrath of God? Is there consequences for our sin? Yes. But God doesn't kill, steal, and destroy. Yet, he still sends his children in there to come and tell you, please repent from sin. That hell that is coming, that is for people, demonic people, witches and warlock, not for you. If that was the case, then he would have just let hell go ahead and have at it. But he's not. She's not. She's like, you go in there and you teach them the truth. You preach to them the truth, right? So I was like, man, why does hell had access? Because we were sinning. And as we are waking up and coming back to the Creator, that is the water covenant baptismal, the holy water, the Bible washes you and cleanses you, you know, purifies you. You know, I seen one of the ladies, amazing. I watched her. I guess she just did a video 6 days ago. Sarah Jakes. And it's like amazing. I seen how she looked like a couple years ago, and you see her now as you're a new person. You know, so of course the devil's going to try to remind you and who you were, but be like, I don't even know you. Whoever's saying that, then you don't know me, you don't know me. Because we were all in darkness. And you see her now, she's glowing. She looks different. It's almost like the renewal. It's a renewal. And it changes you and it washes you clean. And especially when you live that sinful world that was pulling us. in our own flesh, what we're so used to, in thinking that it was okay, and it wasn't. It was a pathway to hell. And as you sit there, live that sinful life and get on there, I get people that tell me, man, you're light. You're light. The light of my mother is in me, of Yahweh is in me. Was there consequences for a sin? Of course there was, but she did not make hell for you. She made it for really demonic people that serve darkness, that want to serve darkness. This is people, but that's how he gets people. I'll make you famous. I'll do this. What did he do when he took Jesus up there? Man, I could give you this. I could give you that. And it says, then it's almost like he's coming up to me. And then I'm saying, like, well, why do I need that when my mother has given me everything in her, to serve her, to serve you, to serve this world? Why am I going to take something from a demonic world? That's what she says. Be content with what you have, be content until I make it happen, Either she's going to come in a donkey with peace, or she's going to come the four horses. I don't know it by heart, but it's destructions, phantom, and pestilence, and something else, but I don't know it by hand, but I will learn it. And Exodus 20 is the 10 Commandments, which is amazing for you to get into and literally root them and pray over your children. Don't go out to the things in the world. There is stuff going on, but I promise you, even if the phantom was to hit where we're at, we're not going to feel it. And this is true. You will not feel it, and it's in the Bible, and I'll find it as I continue studying and going back and forth. And she continues giving me revelation. So, with that being said, Isaiah 14, 12, 17. Hold on real quick, sorry. Right now, is it Brad Meltzer? He's decoding the Leonardo da Vinci prophecy. It's in the History channel. I love to watch a lot of history. And then now you could actually, if you know the Bible, you're able to relate that and find Bible verses in here as well. It's amazing revelation. In what the Da Vinci Code, there was more to it. But I have another one ready to do that in there for you. So much revelations, and I was writing it down. I got it from that movie. Remember I told you, if it's the Holy Spirit that guides me, it's the Holy Spirit. But she nudges. And I got it from the Da Vinci Code. And watching the movie. And I was taking notes as I'm watching it. And then I go to study about it. I go, well, what does that mean? And then boom, boom, boom. And then you get Bible verses that go with it. And it's like, wow. That's how a lot of scientists knew the Bible prophecy, because they knew the Bible. Do you get it? So when people are saying, oh my God, this man is a genius, man. He knows what he's saying. He was able to prophesy. Well, of course he was, because he had the Bible. He had the Bible and he knew it. So you're able to see the beginning to the end. But if you don't know it, somebody's not preaching to you, how do you know that you're not going to meet the ending of the Armageddon in the pit of hell if you weren't being taught that? And that's why they removed pages. That's why they sat there, made it look more like a he covenant. Again, I'm going to say, yes, she picked a king for us, but there is a woman. It's a womanhood. The Holy Jeriel is the daughters. The daughters are the ones that are Israelites. They birthed with the king, but the kings had strayed away. Remember, Blam sent them and threw the women, the harlot from hell, on them, and they fell for it. And even in the moment, they got lost in the sauce. And they say, hey, we could continue this lies. And those are the ones that I just did when it says, you're prophesying and saying lies, saying peace, peace, but there is no peace, saying that you get visions, you get dreams, that you're God. And then they turned away from the maker and were worshiping Blam, the fallen Adam, to make him think that he's God. Well, he was a god of hell, because that's where he got sent from the very beginning of Genesis. And yet she still tried to get Blam to come out of that. And hey, don't do that. That's a pathway to instructions, and that's the mule. You remember how the mule was? That, hey, you're striking me. She said, hey, I'm trying to stop you from going that way. And, it was like, well, once he's seen. And if you read the whole chapter of it, it's very beautiful in how it was that we're all together. And finally she says, I've held my peace, and I held my peace for a long time. She says, I'm not doing it no more. And I'm not. I'm singing. I always say I'm singing in a canary, because they try to stop the daughters and the real prophets that were going out to that, died for the cause but live forever. And our mother God, and our father, there is also a father. Remember, I told you I heard his voice more than once throughout this journey, and he saved my daughter. My daughter was demon possessed, and he said, "Get up, here he comes." That's exactly. And I told you the story. I was out getting drunk and came back, and I told my kids, Joshua and Vanessa, said, "Hey, come and pick me up. I have too much to drink." So they come. I get home, and I passed out. 3:30 in the morning. I heard his voice, and he said, "Get up, here he comes." So I sat up, and I went, and I go to the door, and my daughter's standing right there. My daughter is shaking, she's getting ready to knock, but I opened it, and I looked right at it, and I said, "What do you want with my daughter?" And it left her, and Joshua was all like, she had scratched his face. She said, "She's demon possessed." And I said, "No." I started praying over her, and we went to a car to go to his family's to go pray over her, and was able to save her. And there's more beautiful testimony, but I'll let that be her testimony, and how we know the enemy had been attacking me and my family for a long time, but it was because of my high calling. And at the time I was lost, and I am found. I'm one of the prodigal daughters that has came back to the Lord. And this is you. He also made you a part of it, this world a part of it. And the reason why I go deep into it to study, so you could understand the real Armageddon war is already now. And it's fighting for your soul. So put in a fight. Fight for your soul. Fight for your homes. Fight for your daughters, your wives, your houses, your husband. Fight for you. No sin. And it's going to make it look like sin is okay. Oh, there's no hell. There's nothing that's going to happen to you. Lies. Because they want you to think you're going to be behind. It's going to be parties, all kinds of women, men, whatever, No, it's the pathway to hell, and they know it. They have nothing but wickedness. We're not going to be able to see it, and I thank God for that. But I also want you to be a part of the new heaven, the new earth, because that's going to happen, and he's healing. He's parting the sea, removing the people. And as you go on the journey, you see it. Parts the sea, we get through, bring the children through, because that's all they ever wanted. That's all our Maker ever wanted, was to bring his babies back and then see what the demonic world, the elements of this world had planned for this world. And she said, "No, this is my world. You're not in control of it." And that is what she's doing. She's enthroning the evil and putting back the children that was rightfully theirs. So I'm almost out of time. So I'm going to do actually part 2 video. Let me post some Bible verses, and as well as some of the research of what the pentacle meant, and Solomon behind. And then if you read it, it's all in there, and it's just not Solomon, but I want you to think, because I know a lot of you are around him, huh? Have you guys seen him? I know, so was I, but the enemy's a liar, and he's a deceiver. And this is really to wake you up. And it's not everything that you think it is, and what we see. And you even see some of them that are praising God's songs, and you're all like, wow. And I told you in the churches, I seen witches and warlocks. Here's the bread. Here's this. Wrong. This is just to really wake you up in what's really going on. And the pentacle and what it means, that there's also witches and warlocks, and saying, and I'll start off with part 2. Shalom, shalom.